All right. Hello. Welcome. And today I'm going to talk about targets because one of the most important axioms of tennis is that every shot should have a target in mind. Every shot should have a target in mind. So, um, before I get into that, I wanted to give a shout out. Thank you to my friend Sterling Strother, who bought me a cup of coffee. Thank you. I appreciate it. And you know what I did? I promptly went out and I took Ken Schuler out for coffee. So see how that works? So you're welcome, Ken. And go to The Art of Winning and check out Sterling's uh, thing right there. Also, I'm excited that I just recently followed Simon Wheatley, who is one of the very best coaches in the world. So go check out Simon Wheatley because he's dishing the wisdom out there on his channel. Um, so I want to challenge you with this. Go and find the best people that you can learn from because they're not always the most popular, and that's okay, right? But find the best that you can find. They might not have millions of followers, and they're probably not dumbing down their stuff. But anyway, I digress. So in the last video, I talked about getting the ball up and over the net because, that is the first thing. That's the first job of a tennis player is to get the ball up and over the net. And then what you need to do is you have to have places that you're hitting to on the court. Now, one of my least favorite things that announcers say is so and so hits to big targets on the court. And I have to say, I really think that that's really not very smart. And I think that that's not great coaching. And those, if that's true, then those people aren't winning as much as they could be. So, what I like to say though is that players have very specific targets in mind, but they're shooting for a bullseye, but it could be within a larger area. So there's certain acceptance that you're going to have, even though you're going for, a bullseye target. But, if you get within 3 feet of it, you're going to be happy, right? If you're within 5 feet of it, that's not quite as good. And if you're 10 feet away, you miss the target. So it's really important to build accuracy into your game. And every shot should have a target. And if you're just sorry for the word dumb, but if you're just dumbly trying to just get the ball in the box, you're losing an advantage to someone who's aiming for deep down the middle, box number B, short angle cross court, deep corner, opposite side. You're losing that battle because you're not playing smartly enough. So here's an example. A lot has been made about the 0 to 4, and part of the way that you win that and you play intelligently is that you have plays in mind. You have a play. You're gonna hit the ball here, and then you're gonna hit the ball there. Simple locations in the court. I mean, not even thinking about top spin or slice or any of that yet. So just simple plays of moving people around on the court. So a great shot would be a wide serve to the forehand that goes within about 2 feet of the corner, which pulls the player off to the side, and then making every effort to get the next ball deep to the opposite corner. 5 feet in even is going to be really good. I mean, so safe targets. Um, Whenever I put a target in the service box, it's always 2 feet in front of the service line, and it's always 2 feet from the sideline, because that bullseye will mean every once in a while you get a happy accident where the ball goes right in the corner, right? Okay, but that's not the target. But you hit to a safer target, and then every once in a while your accidental shot could be an ace. but you're not going for an ace. You're not going for the line necessarily. You're going for that safe shot that does the effect that pulls the player off the court. So if we come back to the deuce court, right? One thing I love to see my players do is on the very first point of the match, I want them to serve a ball right up the middle, right at the body of the opposing player, because it sends a message. Look out, here it comes. I'm coming right at you. And what that does, it sets a certain tone of self-protection from the other player. So understand that when the way you target your shots has a tactical and a mental and emotional effect on your opponent, right? And then obviously, then in the deuce court, if you're going down the tee, then for a righty, you're hitting their backhand. So have an intention to the shots that you hit. Your serve intention should be there. So let's take a scenario. I mean, every once in a while you meet somebody and their backhand is better than their forehand. So, you want to be able to hit that out wide serve. If you're playing somebody who is a faster player than you and makes better angles than you, then you don't want to serve out wide. You don't want to start the running. You want to serve into the body or down the tee and keep that ball down the center of the court. So have some intentionality to what you're trying to do. Now, if you just can't wait for the new book to come out, I recommend that you look at top 5 strategies for winning and tactics for winning tennis. It's on Amazon and it's available not only as a paperback, but also as an ebook. And it's not a long book. It's not very long. It's a primer for strategy. And what I do is I outline the 5 primary strategies that are available. Now, think of strategy this way. So you have a Venn diagram. So you got your big circle, and the big circle is strategy. And then within the strategy are smaller circles, and those are the tactics. So you want your tactics to support your strategy, right? So let's say your strategy is to overpower your opponent. That's the strategy on the day. Well, then you're going to want to hit all of your shots as hard as you can in, right? Yesterday, I was interacting with somebody on competitive tennis coaches who said that they wanted to hit 130 mile an hour serve. And then I was looking at their technique and the way they were approaching it. And I was like, right. Well, I said, it's better to hit 120 miles an hour and be able to place it where you want than it is to hit it 130 miles an hour out, because this person looked pretty out of control. So sure, you have to create a threshold of speed, but if you're losing complete control over your shot, then that's pretty foolish because you're not going to be able to hit spots on the court. So if you're trying to overpower your opponent, you're also not going to hit a lot of spin. You're also not going to slice the ball much. You're also not going to do these other things. Because you're overpowering them. So those other tactics take away from that. Now, let's say you're trying to pressure their time and space. So if you're pressuring time and space, then what you want to do is you want to come to the net. And another thing you want to do is you want to draw them to the net. And another thing you want to do is you want to hit the ball at them. And, also then you also want to hit the ball away from them so that they have to run, and then you can hit the ball at them again. So those tactics support pressuring time and space, where you're pressuring them to hit a shot quicker than they want to and taking away their time and putting them in a situation where they have to hit a great shot right now. But it's targets that make that happen. So if you want to take away time and space, you don't serve wide, you don't serve down the tee, you serve at them. That takes away the time and space. Now, if we want to pressure their movement, then your targets need to be as far away as possible, with the exception of the occasional ball right at them, which makes them have to get out of the way. So, Deep, short, short, deep combinations work the best. So, like I said before, the serve out wide, followed by the deep cross court to the opposite side. That's a staple. That's a go-to to pressure their movement. But you could also serve down the tee and then reverse them, as Sterling would say, reverse them to the opposite side that way. It doesn't make them move as much, but they do have to go from here to there, and you can create a lot of errors that way. And then you can drop shot lob. That makes them move considerably. Or you could hit a deep shot followed by a drop shot or a short angled shot to the other side. So these targets are what create the tactics. And then you move on to disrupting their rhythm. So if you're disrupting the rhythm, then you might want to aim higher, lower, and then over here, and then over there, and then at them again, and then over there. So that you have this unpredictability. No two shots are the same. And so you're never hitting the same place twice. And you're not really trying to create predictable patterns. You're trying to keep the other player off balance and always guessing. And then that gets inside their head, and their performance is going to be ruined. And then I always tell people the last and worst way you would ever want to win a tennis match is to just run around and hit one more ball in, because that's the most tiring. It's the least tactical. And if you were going to do that, I've had players who've had to do that because their game was off, right? They're like, oh, I'm not serving very well today, or I'm missing a lot of returns, or every time I go for my aggressive play, my high risk reward ratio shots, I'm missing them. And so, as a last resort, we try other strategies, but as a last resort, your day might be hit the ball and run fast as you can, and just keep it in, right? So, but if you're going to play that way, what I definitely recommend is your staple shot is going to be a deep cross court shot to the opposite side, no matter where you are on the court, because what you want to do is you want to take away the angles from your opponent. The deeper you get it, the less they're going to be able to harm you with the shots. Alternately, you could go deep down the middle, and that also makes it very difficult, but you might end up running a little bit more, because from the center of the court, if they're using their forehand to move you side to side, then it's going to be a real track meet. So, being able to hit those targets is what makes the tactics possible. So when you're practicing your serve, practice hitting to a certain spot, right? When you're practicing your serve +1, right, then serve and set up and practice hitting that deep cross court shot to the other side. So back to this video that I saw on competitive tennis coaches yesterday. I asked the guy, I'm like, well, because he was serving, and then he was like falling off balance to his left. So serve, fall off balance to the left. Well, it's pretty obvious that he's going to be vulnerable to a deep cross court return. So I asked him, well, what are you planning to do with that next shot? And and then he said, well, hit it in, of course. And then I said, well, not if it's a deep cross court to your forehand. And then he said I wasn't helpful. So, so anyway, he and I won't be interacting much more in the future, but that's too bad. So, it's really important, that people learn to hit targets. And it's funny how when you bring out a target onto the court, what's the first thing that happens? People start to feel pressure, right? So I bring out the circle and I put it on the court. I'm like, now how do you feel now that there's a circle on the court that you have to hit to? And they're like, I feel pressure. And I'm like, well, I didn't say anything about you have to hit it, right? So Am I putting pressure on you? No. This inanimate object right here, does it have the power to put pressure on you? No, right? Where does the pressure come from? It comes from in here. It comes from this expectation. Hitting the target is success, missing the target is failure. So what you have to do is you have to go through this process of learning to go to targets and appreciating the fact that when you get within 2 feet of it, that's good. That's what you want. In fact, I try to eliminate subjective judgments from the experience of trying to hit a target. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just it was 5 feet too far and 3 feet to the left. So you need to hit it a little shorter and to the right. And then it's really funny how the next shot can be 5 feet short and 3 feet to the right. And then you go, okay, well, there's a compensation. That's good. You're in the process. Now hit something in between those. And a lot of times it happens, and it won't be perfectly on the target, but you get this approximation. So I would love to consult with you if you would like to talk with me, and get on a phone call, get on one of these video calls. We can do that. If you're watching this, you can have a free 20-minute consultation. There will be a little bit of a soft pitch at the end. So now, also, if you're watching and you're really enjoying these, consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's no obligation. I'm happy to do this. I'm going to be doing this all the time. So I'm trying to push lots and lots of value out. So go and push lots and lots of value out where you are. And have a great day. So go ahead and check out my website, brainsports.coach. It only takes a moment to subscribe to the newsletter. I've been posting my blog there every day, so you're going to get some good stuff there. And take a moment to like and subscribe. So if you love this sport, spend your social digital currency. What is social digital currency? It's here. So you just go boom, 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 hit the little bell, and then you get a notification if you're watching on YouTube, right? If you're on Facebook, hit share, right? More people are going to see it. It's gonna boost people up. If everybody did that, then tennis is gonna take off even more. So, if you're on LinkedIn, and then make some comments. I want to hear what you have to say. I want a question on this. I want to hear what you're thinking. What's your secret sauce? Tell me a little something. Can't wait to interact with you. And thanks for watching. All right, that's it for now. Have a good one.